Tonight we're going to be changing out the ceiling fan here in the computer room. We're going to be installing this Casablanca 4 Seasons 52-inch fan, serial number KTT130137, model number 84U9D420, made in China. Ooh, made in China. It says 120 volts, 60 hertz, 1 amp, 120 watts. And it was made in, according to the yellow sticker, July of 2007. So this is one of the last, getting towards the end of the decent ones that were available. I got this at the Restore for $30, which I only paid that much because it was in really good condition. I guess that could stay on there, it don't make any difference to me. And I'm just now realizing that this came with a bracket on there that has nothing to do with it. How the heck did that even get on here? There we go. That's got nothing to do with it, but I could always use it with something else. So this did come complete with all the parts in the bag here. And the irons, despite being stacked and wrapped like this, which is a complete death sentence to the paint on the irons, they're actually in pretty good condition still. And it doesn't look like any of them are too bent up, so whoever took this down might have at least handled it with some degree of care. So we're going to be changing it out with this Hunter. This has been in here. This is the first fan that I put in here. And I always envisioned putting that Hampton Bay Emperor, the white one, in here, and I just haven't gotten around to that. So we're going to try this Casablanca for now. And maybe we'll change it again next month. I want to start changing these out faster anyways, because I've got so many different models that I want to enjoy, and if the same ones are hanging on the ceiling, then I'm not enjoying any of the other ones. Now, I'm not really a big Casablanca person at all. Some of the models I like, the more traditional models like the Panama, the 4 Seasons, the Zephyr. And I like some of the other ones that are a little more fancy, like the Victorian, the California Zephyr. But I really have no interest in the Planetarium series. I think those are kind of ugly. And I definitely have no interest in anything that's IntelliTouch. Ooh. I think just Casablanca is really a overhyped and overrated brand. Kind of like the Apple of ceiling fans. Sure, they work nice, they're powerful, they're quiet, etc. But there's some serious reliability issues. If somebody was to ask me what the least reliable brand of ceiling fan is, I would probably have to go with Casablanca, because we have more consistent failures in Casablanca than pretty much any other brand. The flywheels consistently break, the controls consistently fail, not to mention the controls are just downright annoying, complicated to use, and a lot stupid beeping and everything. So at least this 4 Seasons here, this has a regular spinner motor in it, which of course Casablanca had to call something weird. I think they called it a Derrick drive motor, and then they touted the fact that it was a metal on metal connection, which is kind of funny because they would also tout the fact that the stack motor fans had a metal or had a rubber flywheel, and so they're advertising the same. They're advertising different concepts against themselves. What a stupid. This is dumb. And then you got the The hang false canopy is, you know, not good. Fiends falling from the ceiling. So I'd take a Hunter over a Casablanca any day. You know, a Hunter from this era, it was actually good quality. I would even take Hampton Bay over Casablanca for the most part, because I think that they were just as good. You know, look at the one in the living room. The what do you call it? The St. Clair. I think the St. Clair is just as good, if not better, than the Victorian in all respects. And I think that the Landmark from Hampton Bay is just as good or better than the Four Seasons in all respects. Now the hang false canopy on the Four Seasons here should be new enough, I think, to not be recalled. But I still don't like it. I think it's very difficult to work with. It's a weird design. It doesn't even make sense to me. These Hunter ones were pretty good when the screws line up correctly. These are easy enough to work with. And this setup is a little dodgy here because there's no grounding, but it is what it is. I suppose we're kind of working on the edge here because I don't know how the polarity is set up on this thing, because the wires are not coated on this this unit here. The wires coming out of from the swag kit. Alright, so that came down real easy. Let's see how much time it takes to get this crazy Casablanca thing up here. I'm sure that canopy will give me a little bit of grief. They usually do every time I work on a Casablanca. It's a problem. Okay then. Alright, so we have a bag here with all the parts. Here's the stupid false bracket, which these barely even fit through. The one thing I will say is nice about this mounting apparatus is that on a ceiling where you don't have the box hanging down like this, it allows you to tighten the canopy up to different heights and get it right up flush to the ceiling, even if the box isn't perfect. But that's about all I will say about that mounting apparatus. And I guess this just kind of hooked on the screw. Yeah, this is a little ghetto, but it's working. Okay, so now this is where the fun part begins. We have 3 long screws that have to go through this false canopy and then somehow line up with these holes in the bracket. And these first 3 won't be too bad because I can see right in there. But the 4th one, I'm not sure how you're supposed to do that. Don't even thread very nicely. Actually, that wasn't too bad. Okay, that was actually a legitimate call, which sadly is rare these days. Alright, so now this is where it starts to become difficult because you lose a lot of room to work with when this is put in place. Whereas with the Hunter ones, the canopy angles down and it's much easier to deal with. This might have been used in the kitchen. It's a little sticky on the top. I should have cleaned it better. The wires are sticky too. I bet somebody had tape on these wires. Some people like to electrical tape everything. I'm not one of those people. Electrical tape has its uses, but if you've got a good physical connection, I would leave it at that. I wouldn't coat the whole thing in tape afterwards. Okay, let's go ahead and turn this on right quick just to make sure it runs before we go and spend the time putting the blades on. Okay. That's the wrong one. Running good, the bearings are quiet. That checks out. I don't know if this is 3-speed or 4-speed. I think it's only a 3-speed. I have another one of these. I don't remember what the finish is. It might be the same. This is a very nice kind of creamy color. It's not stark white. Well, that actually lined up a lot easier than I thought it would. But I still fail to see how this is superior to just having the 4 screws on the top or on the outside. Because this is not concealed hardware by any means. Okay. That's that for the motor. Now we just got to tack on the blades. Yeah, I was thinking I ought to just use this room for the testing area for ceiling fans. Because the ceiling is normal, so we get an idea of how the fans will perform in a typical use case. The lighting seems pretty good. It's bright in here. How's it showing up on the camera? Probably pretty good. And of course I don't have to worry about this box wearing out because it's not wired in through the wall or the ceiling, and it's easier to work with because it's kind of down from the ceiling a little bit. Yeah, that's something to consider. And then that testing area downstairs, I could always just wire it in to be, just have 2 fans down there. That might make a lot more sense actually. I don't particularly like the color of these blades. It's not a warm color, it's kind of a grayish color. It's not anywhere near as bad as the stuff sold today. Stinking silver gray monochrome wood. But this is not really a nice warm wood either. It's kind of monochrome. That actually installed pretty quick. Quicker than I expected, which is good because it is getting tired. couple of the blade tips are messed up. Like this one's got a bunch of scratching on it right there, which is probably from the storage method. Although all things considered, most likely someone took this down that doesn't really care about ceiling fans, and he or she did pretty well. And the restore seemed to handle it pretty well also, because it's not that messed up. Alright, I'm going to change the camera angle. Let's see, is it better from over here? The lighting better from over here? Oh yeah, the lighting's pretty good over here. Let's lower this down a bit. Only a couple more videos to deal with this cheesy tripod. I bought a new vintage one from like the 1950s. Probably hold 25 cameras. It's so sturdy. Alright, there we go. Let's turn this thing on. Yeah, this works out pretty good for the testing area. I think I'm going to start filming ceiling fans in here instead. I think it goes high, medium, low. That's quiet. You can't hear a motor at all. Actually, it looks pretty nice in here. This is a very warm and bright room. The color on the walls is kind of a warm, very warm light brown, and the finish on this fan being kind of a cream. I think it looks very nice with the walls. That's dead silent. You can't hear anything. You can feel some air, but it's very gentle. I mean, it's a very slow low speed. It performs as you would expect. It's a very gentle breeze. That pitch is pretty good though. It's not bad. It is still picking up speed. Actually, there's a very, very slight motor noise, but this is very, very quiet. And it's a good sized motor too. The motor goes out almost just past where the vents start. That's decent size. It's got the heavy metal chain fob. If I recall correctly, the other one that I have is not that powerful, and even at full speed it just doesn't move that fast. I don't know if it's capacitor drift or if that's just the way it was. I wouldn't expect capacitor drift after only 15 years or so, but 2007 is towards the end of the. And most people, I think, say the capacitor play goes from about 2001 to about 2008. So it's not inconceivable that garbage capacitors were used unintentionally in these fans. You can always check it out. It's easy to test it. It's still very quiet. There's a slight motor hum, very slight air noise, but it's overall a very quiet fan. Decent airflow. Let's see if I sit over here on the couch. Do we feel anything? Yeah, I feel a decent amount of air. And this is not a small room. I actually would like to put 2 fans in here. It's big enough that it could handle 2 fans. I believe it's 12 feet long by maybe 15 feet wide. So that is within the boundaries of what a decent 52-inch fan could handle. But you could definitely fit 2. Maybe fit 3, but they'd be like blade to blade. It wouldn't look right. 2, I think, would look fine. At some point, my plan for this room was to put 3 boxes in here like I did in the kitchen and have it set up such that one would be centered where the fan is right now over the window, and then the other two would be set up such that it wouldn't be broken down into thirds, but the two on either side would be set up such that you could put two fans and it would be centered in the room. And then maybe I could put a light in the middle or just shut it off, just cap it off when I'm not using it. All right, let's go up to the high. I think you could actually see the torque on this when you turn it on. Yeah, it's got some power to it. Alright, that's getting going. This is running, I think this is much faster than that other one that I had, or still have. Or actually, I think it's at the old location still. I gotta get over there and get the rest of those fans. This is moving. And it's in pretty good balance. There's only a very, very slight wobble. The blades are within reasonable clock, so this was definitely handled pretty well. I can see the irons, looks like one or two is slightly bent, but nothing that's worth even playing with. So you can hear the air noise, but it's very, very quiet. The motor, quiet. And the airflow is solid. That's moving some air. I'm very pleased with the performance. However, it's not really any better than a basic Hampton Bay from the 90s. The motor might be quieter than some models, but that's all I can give it. It's hanging totally crooked. I wonder why it's like that. Yeah, sitting back on the couch here, it's very powerful. Yeah, this is a nice fan. I like it. And the coloring of it looks really good in here. See, it should be kind of like that, and it keeps moving. This is very like free floating in there, which I don't like. Yeah, it keeps going crooked. Unless the whole ceiling is so crooked that this is straight and it looks crooked by comparison. No, in this house, that is totally a possibility. I don't know, that looks really crooked to me. To me, it should be kind of like that. That would be straight, and then it goes to the right. Whatever, that's not a big deal. Oh, I like this fan. This definitely moves faster than the other one that I have, so maybe the other one has some capacitor drift. If these are the same finish, I would consider a dual install of these for the kitchen. Yeah, that's nice enough. And it looks like the video has good lighting too. Oh, Casablanca, best fans ever. Okay. I've never really used this room all that much, which is ironic because when I first moved in, this is where I was staying as I was working on the rest of the house. But I've cleaned a lot of it up now. As you can see, it's not just full of junk anymore. Before it was just full of junk. Now I've cleaned most of it up. And this summer I want to start using this room again. It's a nice room. You got all these nice windows in here and so forth. A couch, whatever. Computer. I'm going to put a projector in here too. So we'll have that. Yeah, this is a nice fan. I like this.